this word La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah takes you into paradise.
Cannot express how grateful I am for Allah to have guided me to Islam.
The thing we're trying to establish is how do we know the Quran is the Quran? That's what I'm talking about. You can't just say it's not though, because we have a chain of transmission back from the Prophet himself saying this is the Quran.
Just a couple of minutes ago, you referred to the Bible as a similar story in the sense that
But they don't have it.
Take their words for truth.
No.
Be written about Jesus later on.
No, because the difference with the Bible doesn't have that chain of transmission. That's why we don't accept it.
Again, we put our faith into that.
No, because we don't have a chain of transmission.
I can portray myself in one way to one people and be something different.
You can think what you like. This is a science. This is something that can be analysed. Even non-Muslims have analysed the chain of transmission of the Quran and the Hadith. That this is the same Quran that Prophet Muhammad had. Even non-Muslims are saying that, right? They're not doubting that. They don't believe it's from God.
That's because the Quran itself
point
about itself that it's going to be preserved.
No, but it could be one ayah that talks about itself. We're talking about the specific collection of verses from Fatiha to Nas. That collection, what we all agree on today, 1 minute, is the Quran. How do you know that is the Quran? It's because Prophet Muhammad told his companions, and them companions told their companions, all back till today. Does that make sense? The same with Hadith. Now some Hadith don't have that chain. If it doesn't have that chain, it's not accepted. The same as the Bible. The Bible doesn't have the chain.
Characters of
So what?
individuals can be.
That's different. That's
that
about.
goes back to the chain.
No
That's what
problem.
it's
Yeah, but you're going into the details of how you authenticate. We don't even need to go that far.
Who operates?
We don't even need to go that far. The point is, the Bible doesn't have one full stop, and we can distinguish between an authentic and an inauthentic hadith. Now it's a science book. What? Listen, am I supposed to believe you? Or am I supposed to believe the scholars around the world? And even non-Muslim scholars are talking about this.
There's one thing I would like to mention.
Okay, just 1 minute. The point I'm mentioning, which you're coming back to it, and I really want you to think about it when you go home. How do you know the Quran which we have today is the Quran? And the answer is because Prophet Muhammad told us that this is the Quran, and he told his companions, and them companions told them companions back to us today.
How can we know that the Quran is from Allah and it's the truth? My answer would be, the Quran itself says, we are the...
So let me say, if I remove...
We've kept the book together and we are protectors over it.
Okay. Yeah.
So Allah protects his own Quran. Yeah. The difference is, Hadith is not on the same level as the Quran in that aspect of this is his word, this is his legislation.
I never said it's the same.
No, but the problem is...
But it is revelation. It's not, authentic hadith is revelation. It's not Kalam Allah.
No,
it's not Kalam Allah. Although Hadith Qudsi would also be Kalam Allah.
No, but the point is that...
But it's not. But the Quran has a higher status. I understand that.
The sister said earlier, there is 3 different narrations.
Do you reject Hadith as well?
I am open-minded. I'm a Muslim.
Yes or no?
I'm a Muslim. That comes first.
So are you open-minded that the Hadith are authentic?
Taking possibilities because you don't know who wrote history.
Okay.
That's my perspective.
So that's...
But my question is, Shi'as have...
That's why you have to study.
Shi'as have the understanding of the Quran and Ahl Bayt or the Ahl.
I understand, yeah. That's why you have to do your research.
The Sunni mosques, they narrate.
You do know Shia don't believe the Quran is preserved. You know that.
Can I continue?
But you keep talking about Shia, but they don't believe the Quran is preserved. Some scholars say that the scholars of the Shia are not Muslim.
Okay, fair enough.
Because they believe the Quran is not preserved.
I'm going back to the point I'm...
But the lay Shia don't know.
The point I'm making...
Are you Shia?
I'm background Shia.
Okay. Do you know the Shia don't believe the Quran. They believe the Quran is corrupted.
Okay, can I speak now?
Yeah, it's a question.
I was asking a question. There's three different, I think two, as far as I know. The Quran and the Bayt, which is, I think, in the majority of hadith, the Sunnah and the Shia. And Quran and Sunnah. Which one do you follow?
Is what, sorry?
There's a hadith after the Prophet. He said, these are hadith al-Thaqalayn.
Yeah.
If you follow the Quran and my Ahl al-Bayt, you will not go astray.
Okay.
Is it this version or is it the other version?
I don't know. I need to check to see if the hadith.
Have you been to mosques and what have you heard?
I need to see which hadith is authentic. For me, whichever hadith is authentic, I'll affirm it. But to be honest, on these two, I don't know about the level of authenticity on it. Did you learn your Islam from this brother? Do you know each other? No. You never met? Okay. So yeah, just to confirm, the Shia don't believe the Quran is preserved. Yeah. So there's something to think about. But you know. Yeah. But I just wanted to iron out that point that the Hadith is not like the Bible.
And my point is that the hadith is also not like the Quran. That's my point.
It's not. It's different. No, it's different. Yeah. So
the hadith is there to teach, but not to
we're not supposed to put all our faith into the Hadith. We're supposed to find out which ones are authentic. Right? The scholars have done that. And if you want, you can learn that science yourself and do it yourself. Yeah? But you have to get off your backside and do it. It's not easy. Other than that, you're going to have to listen to the scholars of Hadith. Right? Even non-Muslims can learn the science of Hadith and do that work. It's very difficult. So what you have to do, if you really want to do it yourself, learn how to authenticate the Hadith, and then you know which ones are authentic and which ones are not. Once it's authentic and you know the Prophet Muhammad, peace of him, said this or did this, you have to obey it. Let me ask you a question. If you can be sure that Prophet Muhammad said something or did something, would you accept that Hadith? If you can be sure that Prophet Muhammad, peace of him, said or did something, you'd accept it, right?
If I know
if you know for certain.
We can't know anything for certain.
No, we can't. This is too skeptical, brother. This is way too skeptical. Let me tell you, when we're talking about authentic hadith, a sahih hadith, right?
But we're still different.
No, let me tell you. Yeah, but not a difference between sahih and rejected. You know, there's levels of authenticity. What I'm saying is, if you can be sure Prophet Muhammad said something, you obey him. That's your prophet. It doesn't matter if you're Shia, Sunni, whatever. The point is, it's your prophet, right? The point I was making is, if someone wants to reject hadith, the Quran is hadith.
Yeah,
because the reason it's hadith, because the Prophet told us that this is the Quran. We know it's the Quran because the Prophet told us. That's what I'm saying. So to reject hadith is we're rejecting Quran.
For example, do we need, in the Quran it's very clear that, for example, the legislation of what we're allowed to eat and what we're not allowed to eat. Now, if there is a possible hadith, again, I don't know, but if there's a possible hadith that links back to the Prophet Muhammad and that says something other than, for example, let's say hypothetically, there's a rabbit or something that's not in the Quran and it's not in our culture that we do. Let's say a rabbit, I want to eat a rabbit. Is that haram to do or not?
You can eat rabbit.
Okay, but there's going to be different people, other than yourself, for example, who will come and make a legislation and say this is haram.
If someone wants to do that, then you have to ask them for the evidence.
The Quran, I think in Surah Al number 6, 177 maybe, that's the area where Allah talks about what's halal and what's haram. And then towards the end it says, bring your witnesses if they testify other than that. So my point is, if there is other legislation additional to the Quran, we have to be very careful what this additional legislation is, if it goes with the Quran or not. That's my perspective. I'm not saying reject all the hadith, because if you reject all the hadith, you reject the whole narration of
the criteria is if it's authentic or not. If it's authentic, it's basically like the Quran in terms of it can be traced back to the Prophet. If you deny authentic hadith, you can't accept the lineage of the Quran either. It's preserved by other Sahaba. It's been passed down. The Quran has come through the Sahaba. And the hadith has come through the Sahaba. Different Sahaba, yes. But he's come through the Sahaba.
Yes, I'm with you on that.
You know what I'm saying?
I understand where you're coming from.
But I agree with you, the Quran and the hadith, it's not, the Quran has a different level of, it's the Kalamullah,
Yes, the
right?
truth, yeah.
It's a different level on that perspective, but from a Sharia perspective, it's the same. If you can prove that they come from the source, it's still revelation.
I'm with you on that. I don't know.
What I was saying to the sister, and I do believe she's sincere, Allah knows best, it's just, you know, it's difficult when people pull cameras out, so you start defending a position rather than listening.
Yes.
So the point, all I was saying is, if you reject hadith, then you've also rejected Quran, because it's the same concept.
I've heard this perspective. I understand why. Because even if you reject hadith, you have to now reject the history of what happened.
Yeah.
For example.
But we're not saying all hadith are authentic as well. We're talking about authentic hadith.
I know, and that's why me personally, how to authenticate it and who is the true, like a true companion, who's not a real companion.
No, this is the thing, right?
So
we're not scholars, right? So we have to rely on certain scholars. We can look at different scholars, what they say. If we really want to know, we can learn a bit more and do it ourselves. Even you can learn a bit more than the average Muslim, just to understand why that scholar has that opinion, etc. And by the way, yeah.
Not every scholar is going to tell you the truth, because the layman.
No, it's not about truth. It's about they have different understandings and they might disagree on certain things, and that's fine.
And that's
that's
fine,
where
right?
difference of opinion come in.
There's also a possibility that that scholar that may be teaching you is on batil, like falsehood.
Well, that's why you need to know who is he, where did he get his knowledge from, where is he getting his information. That's why you ask people, where's your evidence?
I'm with you.
But the point is, bro, it's all there. It can all be checked.
But the layman
you know
now
what I'm
needs to do his own research.
Exactly. And she's obviously been told, and I get where she's going from. I understand that position. I was like that when I first came to Islam. I thought, hadith, recorded by a companion, sounds like the Bible. But then when I understood how the hadith is preserved and how the Quran is preserved, it's the same way. Yes, it's not got the same status as Quran, but
I think the Christians would agree that they have a similar concept, in the sense that.
But they don't claim to have Isnad.
The chain of narration, of course, yeah.
They don't have a book that goes back to Moses. They don't have a book that goes back to Jesus. They don't even believe in a book that's given to Jesus.
Christianity is a lot further away from, like, it's been 2,000 plus years. Islam is 1,400.
It's only 1,400.
Yeah, so that's the difference as well.
Yeah.
But ultimately.
But the sad thing is, with the Shia, from the Shia background, you're from a Shia background. Many Shia don't know that Shia scholars believe the Quran is corrupted.
Yeah, because people have different backgrounds.
So my question to the Shia is, what's the ruling on somebody who believes the Quran is corrupted? Now, many normal lay Shia will say he's a non-Muslim. Why? Because the Quran says. But when you look at the books of the scholars of the Shia, they say it's corrupted.
I know.
And I can give you,
I'm with you, I know of that history.
This is a problem.
But ultimately, realistically speaking, at
So
the end
ultimately,
of the Quran says, "Lakum dinakum waliya din." If they are separate, right? If this is, because, like you said, the scholars of the Shia say that if the Quran is not intact and it has been tampered with, then you're basically out of the fold of Islam according to the Quran, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
So then Shiism is wrong?
But then again, can we deem them to?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm with you. I understand where you're
so
coming
listen.
from, but
So you're now Sunni Muslim.
No, can we not?
And you accept hadith.
Can we?
Huh?
Can we not just be brothers regardless of anything?
No problem, brothers. But what we're saying is, bro,
And if there is
listen, I'd rather be your brother in Jannah than your brother who's shouting down, saying, "Come." Listen.
In Surah Al-Rahman, it says, "Lahum Jannatan." Right? My interpretation, obviously, you have to go to tafsir and nuzul al-asbab to really know what it means. My version of it, there's two Jannahs, the hereafter and this life, right? Because Rabbina atina fi dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasana, right?
Okay.
That's one dua in the Quran. So my perspective is, if we want to be peaceful together, become brothers in this earth, regardless of our differences, and the hereafter would be the next 100 years.
So how do the way we become peaceful is to unite on truth, though,
On truth.
not on battle. You know, the fact is that The Sunni position is the clear truth.
I've got a question then.
So no, 1 minute. The Sunni position is clear truth. So you want to unite, you have to come to the truth.
Okay.
You can't expect someone who has the truth to leave the truth for falsehood.
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
But my point is, there's good Christians out there and bad Christians, right? There's good Muslims out there and bad Muslims, right?
Yeah.
Despite of our differences in belief, yeah, we can always come together regardless, right? Would you come to that?
To a certain perspective, in a certain level, yeah.
So that's my point.
You can marry Christians.
Yes, and again, there's a verse in the Quran. It says also that from the Christians and the Jews and the Sabi'in, the Sabians, whoever believe in Allah and the day, the last day, and does righteous works, have their fair share.
Now this is talking about the ones who were Muslim before the Prophet ﷺ came.
That's
Yeah. No, because if you reject one prophet, you reject all of them.
of course.
So the point is that this is talking about the ones who came. For instance, the followers of Isa at the time of Isa were Muslim. It says in the Quran they're Muslim. The ones who follow Moses were Muslim. Yeah. Now when the Prophet Muhammad comes, you have to accept Muhammad. If you deny Muhammad, you're kafir. So you know what I'm saying.
Nice.
So you're a Sunni Muslim now, yeah?
I am Muslim.
You're Sunni.
Muslim. Hanif.
You're Muslim. You accept Quran and the authentic Sunnah.
And I'm Hanafi, like Abraham, my father.
Hanif.
Hanif. And ma kana min al-mushrikeen.
Okay. Well, you accept authentic hadith.
I accept what is true.
Okay. Which is authentic hadith.
Yes, if you can provide me the evidence, then yes.
Good. This is good, brother. So.